So did y'all talk about personal branding before you in the networking here? Yeah. We did. Okay. So does anyone think they have a really good personal brand? All right. Yeah, that's a scary question. So hopefully today I'm going to illuminate. I'm going to be very specific about what a personal brand is. Okay. And I'm going to tell you that it is an enormous opportunity to create a personal brand. A lot of people think that that's a real fluffy concept. It's not. You have a brand already. Whether you realize it or not, you have a personal brand. The only question is, to what extent are you assuming responsibility for that? To what extent do you see, I mean, she mentioned the term strategic. I'm a strategic thinker. Now, this is the only reason why I'm interested in this, because it has strategic implications for myself and for my company. So to what extent are you going to realize the strategic implications and begin to leverage the power of your personal brand? So huge opportunity, huge responsibility. We are all ambassadors of our increasingly social business. Now I'm going to talk about what a social business is here shortly, and you'll see that we're already there. I mean, things are moving so quickly. I used to stand up a couple of years ago and talk about social business and say, you know, social business is coming, and now social business is just business. This is the environment that you operate in. But can you see what's going on, and can you realize those strategic implications? So you're all brand ambassadors, and we need to differentiate our personal brand by practicing professional discretion. I think this is at a real premium nowadays. I think a lot of people are online and they're looking around and comparing themselves to others, and they're norming their behavior off of what other people are doing, and not even questioning where those norms of behavior came from. Who set those rules? Who set those norms? We weren't doing these things 5 years ago. The things we're going to talk about today, we weren't doing 5 years ago. So where'd those rules come from? And are those really the best rules for us personally and professionally? And are they the best rules for our company as well? So we'll cover all of that today. So some disclaimers. I speak very frankly, all right? So I'm here to tell you what I think you need to hear, not what I think you want to hear. I always show up to try to change your mind. I don't show up to try to tickle your ears. And a lot of what I'm going to say today, I know will smack up against your current paradigm of how this stuff operates. Because, you know, all smart women, you've researched this, you've looked into it, you've gotten advice. There's a plethora of advice out there. And my advice is, as I find, usually in the minority of voices that talk about this. So, I mean, I understand that clearly. The other disclaimer is, as she mentioned earlier, I'm a management guy. This personal branding stuff, I didn't even know what that was in 2009. But I made a strategic decision to try to reinvent myself and learn what this online space was all about. And I understood clearly that the only way to learn was to participate. I wasn't going to pick up a book. This is truly activity-based learning. You learn by doing. So in 2009, I just jumped in, not knowing what any of this was, not having read a book. Started on, you know, had a LinkedIn profile, and then I went over to Twitter. Wow, how confusing Twitter is, but it's a power platform. I hope to demonstrate that to you today. At the end, I hope to pull up some stuff that happened on Twitter just this afternoon to show you how powerful these concepts are. So I jump on Twitter, I really don't know what's going on, and then being on Twitter, I realize the real power in this is to have a blog. And that's when I started blogging back in 2009. I didn't know what a blog was. I'm a professor. We look down our noses at blogs. Unless we write something that only 100 people will read, it's not considered valuable. So, you know, so the blog is brand new territory for us. And I realized by looking in my rearview mirror, hey, I'm into personal branding. I'm not a marketing professor, I'm a management professor. And I understood the strategic implications of this, which is why I'm so interested in it. And so that's why I started teaching classes on personal branding. Again, I want to learn more, so for me the way to learn more is to keep doing it and to teach it, right? So some of my big disclaimers today. Remember that I'm coming from a management perspective, and so if you were getting this from a journalism perspective, you'd get a totally different message. It would be much more along the lines of just express yourself and go for it, and there's no boundaries. But I'm not in that. I'm not in that ocean. I'm in an entirely different ocean, speaking to an entirely different audience. All right. All right, so this is a picture I hope you just burn in your brain. A picture of social business. Now if you look at this, you'll see that this is really just business as usual. Can y'all see that? Okay. I got to stay in this blue box right here or I'd be moving around. So there's tape on the floor. If I'm in your way, I'll move over here so you can see it. So this is really just business. At the core is a brand. Now that brand can represent your company's brand. That brand can represent your personal brand. And it is nested in networks of relationships. Relationships with customers, relationships with employees, relationships with suppliers. All of those relationships are themselves nested within relationships. Now that's always been true, right? We've always had relationships. What's different? What's different today? The connectivity, right? All those relationships are now online. We've always talked. I mean, when you go home from work, you always talked about your employer, right? Always. You always bellyached or complimented the place that you work. We've always done that. Now people go online and they do it. And when they go online and they do it, it now is archived and shareable. Do you understand what those terms mean? Archived means it is now connected to a URL that's a permanent part of the World Wide Web. And because it's connected to a URL, I could copy that URL and take it over into my nested social network and share it. And when I put my name on that URL, it has powerful implications. Does that make sense? So if you see this and you understand the environment we're operating in, this has enormous strategic implications. Those of you that are strategic thinkers, you should be going cha-ching, because this has tremendous strategic opportunity attached to it. Tremendous strategic opportunity. And the number one lesson I take away from this, more than anything else, what that social business diagram means and this increased connectivity is now more than ever there is a premium on excellence. You better be really, 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 really good at what you do, because there's no place to hide. You better be at the top of your game all the time, personally and for a company. Does that make sense? Because if I do business with your company and your company makes me very unhappy, we've known for years that people talk about those bad experiences, right? I used to teach this, I swear I used to teach this in class. You know, you have a bad experience, you go out and you tell 20 people. And I would say something bad just to demonstrate it to my 40 students. That's no longer true. Now you have a bad experience, you go online, you say something online, and it moves to hundreds, if not thousands, just like that. Right? So, I mean, this has huge implications for you personally and especially for your business. You just got to be at the top of your game all the time. Operational excellence is the number one lesson that comes out of this new environment. And if you are operationally good at what you do, I mean, this is a strategic home run. You're really good at what you do. Now I want to hire connected, nested employees. I want to hire women that are on Facebook, that are on Twitter, and that understand how to operate on those platforms in a professionally personal way. Because I'm going to hire you and bring you into my business, I'm going to impress the socks off of you and give you a reason to go say good things about me. Right? I want to give you a reason to go spread the good news about me and my business organically. I'm not going to make it a policy. I'm just going to that impress you, impress my customers, impress my suppliers. So, everyone's talking. Everyone is talking. And now more than ever and increasingly online. And if whatever is said about you, you have to assume the posture that you earned it. You have to assume the posture that you earned it. If you don't like what people are saying about your business, do not move to shut them down, because you will just create more buzz. We know companies that have done this, that have tried to silence the voices that dissented or disagreed or complained. You can't silence those voices, and if you do, that's a tactical error. You need to be listening and responding, owning responsibility for how you've behaved, learning from your behavior and making sure it doesn't happen again. But I mean, and that's great. I mean, now we have these outlets where we can, if you're listening as a company, you can learn faster than ever nowadays, right? There's so much to be learned because people are talking. But do you have multiple nodes of contact? If you're relying on just a few people in your corporation to listen and respond, you're not maximizing the full leverage of this. Everyone should be in that army of listeners, that army of responders, that army of ambassadors that care about your business and want to help it learn and put its best foot forward. Does that make sense? All right, so let's talk about a personal brand. I'm going to define what a personal brand is in very specific terms. So your personal brand value, if people are not talking about you, spreading the good news about you, buzzing about you, if they're not remarking about you, then it's because there's nothing remarkable about you. And that's a big problem, both at a business level and on a personal level. It's our responsibility to be remarkable, to do things that cause other people to buzz about what we're doing, to talk about that. We want that, okay? If people aren't talking about you, that's not good news, because then you're really just a commodity. You're really just a commodity. You understand what I mean by that? And if you're a commodity, you're replaceable. If you're a commodity employee, there's nothing really unique about you, nothing special about you. You're not doing anything that causes other people to say, that's really good stuff. We got to have more of that. Then you're replaceable. And you'll always go to the lowest bidder. I don't know about you, but I want to be a premium product. I want to try to differentiate myself in ways that creates buzz and that creates scarcity, such that there aren't too many people doing what I'm doing, and I might now command more security in the position I have and a premium price for what I do. Does that make sense? So, this is it. It all evolves around value. This is your personal brand. This is the hardest question you have to answer for yourself. What is my value? I'm telling you, this is really, really difficult. But you should struggle with it. And you don't let go of it until you get there. Whether it's 2 years from now or 2 days from now, you really must answer this question. What is it that I do uniquely well to help other people address opportunities and solve problems that matter to them? That is the strategic question of your career. Not what job you have. I don't want to know if you're an accountant or if you're a product designer, whatever it might be. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about behaviorally. Your posture. What is it you do uniquely well that sets you apart? You've got to get there. It took me a long time to try to define what my brand was and what it is I do. But I realized the more I started trying to do that, the more clarity came to it. The more I started talking about it online and putting it out there, it got much more clear about what I do. And I also will tell you that, I mean, this is a really important thing to understand. When you define yourself in terms of what you can do for others, I'm convinced you will not want for work. If you define yourself in terms of yourself and are entirely egocentric and inwardly focused, you're going to struggle. Because you're going to be assuming a posture toward people that they're going to sense just like that. And that posture is one they're used to. They're used to people approaching them from someone that's got something to sell, that doesn't give a darn about them and only wants something from them. Takers. We're used to being approached by takers. And we sense that, and we are very good at repelling those types of people, right? But you need to assume the posture of a strategic giver, if you will. Define yourself in terms of what you do for others, and then when you show up to help, people will sense that. Immediately, they'll sense that, and they'll assume a different posture towards you. They will open themselves to you in ways that they didn't before. And as you move to help them, they will respond. You will build a brand reputation for yourself, and you will find that increasingly you have less work to do to spread your brand reputation because other influential people are doing it for you. They are spreading the word about you, and that's the home run. When someone influential puts their name on your name and recommends you in their social circles, they do for you what you can't do for yourself, right? I cannot step into your social network and recommend myself. Only you can do that. And I am not entitled to that. I can't send you an email and say, hey, would you recommend me? No, don't do that. Do it, do something that earns the recommendation. And then that will be genuine and your network will sense it. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, I mean, this is really, I think this is the question of your career. When I teach this to my students, even my MBA students, this is really something they struggle with. But don't let go of it until you get there, because this is a very important question. So, your brand, who are you? What do you do? Who do you help? How do you help them? All questions you have to address. You know, a few years back, we used to have this really stupid discussion about, well, do you think it's okay that people are going online and searching you? You know, is that a good thing? Is that ethical? You know, we are way past that because it's happening, right? Do you understand that, right? Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to have a meeting with you, I would be silly to show up for that meeting without having first put your name in a search engine. Do you guys do that? Absolutely, because the tool is available. So, you will be searched. You will be searched. Is that a surprise to anyone? It should not be a surprise to anyone. You will be searched. And they're going to be looking for information about you. If someone puts your name in a search engine and you don't show up, is that good news or bad news? It is terrible news. It's absolutely terrible. Because it means that you haven't taken control of your brand. So, I mean, here's the only strategic posture. If you know what somebody is going to do, you should anticipate that they're going to do it and prepare for them to do it. If you're not preparing for this type of behavior, what are you doing? You're not thinking strategically. I mean, I just got to be honest with you. If you're not preparing for this type of behavior on the part of your constituents, you're not really thinking strategically. You should anticipate that people are going to do this. You should prepare to be Googled. Oh, I said the G word. I'm sorry. So you're going to have to forgive me. I had to go get a Bing slide for this. So, but as I say the G word throughout the day, please forgive me. I'll try not to say it often. But one thing you can do, go to a site that sells URLs, buy your name. $9.99 a year. Buy your name. It's a piece of real estate on the World Wide Web that can only appreciate and value. I wish I'd have known this when I started branding myself in 2009. I go to look for Bret Simmons. Bret Simmons is gone. Some musician owns it. That's bad news. Musicians and athletes and celebrities, oh, you're in big trouble. So I had to be Bret L. Simmons. I mean, my website is bretlsimmons.com, but I didn't care. And I didn't understand much about personal branding because I knew how to win this game. I mean, it's a very simple formula to win this game. The search engines love fresh content. So I'm Bret L. Simmons. All I have to do is produce enough fresh content, and after a while I teach the search engine, oh, that's not Bret Simmons. That's Bret Simmons. That one right there is the Bret Simmons people are looking for, not that one. And so these search engines are really learning machines. They want to learn. They want to understand what is the right answer to the question, right? Because that's what people go to search engines for. They're searching for an answer, right? They're searching for an answer. And you can teach it that you are the answer. Your business is the answer, your company, whatever it might be. But not until you assume responsibility for that posture. It's not just going to happen magically. Okay? So, buy your name. That's a big piece of advice. My daughter is 19. She doesn't know it, but I couldn't get her name because it's taken. So it's her name, middle initial, Simmons. So I own it. It's sitting out there. When she realizes that this is important, Daddy will come to the rescue. And I have it. My dear, we're ready to go. So, this is what the search engine's like. Associate your name and face with your value. So be clear about what your value is. Your brand is your name, your face, your value. That should be consistent. Just like products. I mean, we saw you put up some logos at the very start of this presentation. Those are all brands, and they're created to invoke an emotional response. So before we ever begin to cognitively process that this is Microsoft, that picture shows up and there's an emotional reaction to it that frames my cognitive response. You want to do the same thing with your personal brand, but you can't do that if you have an image that changes shape. One image here, one image there, another image over there. You really need to have a consistent professional image. Try to use a consistent name so that people begin to recognize and associate that. I mean, that's just basic branding that companies do it, and you'll do it for yourself. And then create content and connections. So if you really want to get in this game and start moving up the search engines, you have to create some content. Well, this is, I mean, 5 years ago, we never had this opportunity to really document what it is we do to help others, solve problems that matter to them, and to target the people that need that help. It was much more random 5 years ago. Now it can be very specific and very effective. I can create content that helps people understand what I do to help, and I can go find the communities where those people that need my help hang out and begin to connect with influential people in those communities. I find an influential person, she puts her name on my name, and then the magic begins to happen. All right, as you create content, and content comes in many forms, pictures, posts, things of that nature. As you create content, be clear, not cute. I mean, I'm going to talk about being personal online, but there must be clarity associated with your brand. Microsoft, Intuit, all these companies strive for clarity so that when people see the brand, there's a clear understanding of the value that it provides. You have to do the same. It must be clear, free of ambiguity, about who you are and what you do to help others. If that's ambiguous, there's no brand value. There's nothing that people could do to help you help others. So be clear, not cute. In social media, you want to be personal and conversant, right? I'm going to ask you to stand up later to tell me how many of you are on these networks. But we want to be personal, right? We must be. That's the beauty of social media. That's why it's called social. But so many people show up and it's all personality. I don't know what I could do, who I could recommend you for. Yeah, I'm friends with you on Facebook and you post some really cute pictures, but I can't help you because I don't know what you do. You know, I don't know how you help people. I don't know who I would recommend you to. And someone I know might need you, but you haven't created the opportunity for me to help you because it's totally opaque what you do to create value. So, lead with your value. Remember, I'm a business guy, and so I am really interested in the economic, strategic implications of the actions that I take online. I do not go online to play. I do not go online to play. I don't have time to play. Do you have time to play? No, you don't have time to play. I go online with a strategic purpose. It is purposeful behavior that I exhibit when I go online. Now, I'm personal when I'm out there, but that's a strategic, personal posture as I try to build relationships with people. I'm telling you, I'm an introvert, a powerful introvert. Networking, I don't want to do it. And if there is a networking event, I'll be the first one to show up so that I can justify being the first one to leave. And I'll stand in the corner and look at my shoes the whole time. This has been tremendous opportunity for me, social media. I've met more people in the last 5 years on Twitter, especially Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, that have evolved into personal conversations, phone calls, coffees, meetings, all over the world. Because that's the whole goal. The whole goal is not to get 5,000 friends. The goal is to make a connection I didn't have before and to press the flesh. Because all business is done in person. If I'm connected with you online, I'm moving to eventually do this, where we can meet face to face. You can look in my eyes, because there'll never be that strong trust until that connection is made, right? So all of my online connections, I'm filtering through them, looking for the influential people that I have the opportunity to make that happen. And not just out there playing around. But I'm in connected communities where people look for my value, and my value is very clear, it's not ambiguous. So lead with your value, wrap your personality around it. That's what makes you really unique. And so, be professionally personal. Be professionally personal. I think this is so important because we want to be personal, but I think a lot of people have lost sight of the fact or no longer value the importance of being professional. Professional is not a four-letter word to me. I mean, professional says a lot about you. Can you carry yourself in a posture where you remain professional at all times, even when you're being personal with people? I think that really sets you apart. Really sets you apart. Because a lot of people are one or the other. They're either all professional, there's no personal, or they are all over here personal, having a lollygagging good time, and they've forgotten the professional aspect. If you can mix the two, I think that you are a home run for my business. I want people like you who realize the power of this medium and are assuming responsibility for assuming a professionally personal posture online. You're a home run for my business. Does that make sense? So be professionally personal. All right. So, as we talked about earlier, everything you do online is archivable. You have a footprint, a digital footprint, right? You post anything, you say anything, you go anywhere, you like something, that is now a record that people can share in their circles. I mean, it's different than you and I having coffee, where you could go and tell someone about it, but that's going to die really soon. You do something online, and it is a digital footprint that can be traced and tracked back to you. So how much are we assuming responsibility for the footprint that we leave as we traverse this space? And do we really understand the implication of every click that we make on that computer? Because every click has implications, right? I'm not overselling this, it's true. And unfortunately, I think we're lulled into a false sense of, I know we are. We are lulled into a false sense of security by this concept of privacy. We believe that these sites that just popped up in the last 5 years, owned by people we don't know, who we're sharing all of this personal information on, we believe that they are acting in our best interest. And they've told us that we have privacy. And we buy that, you know, and we think, oh, I can go on the World Wide Web and I can do things that only some people are going to see. And because I've got my privacy settings set a certain way, now I'm safe online. You haven't been paying attention the last 3 years if you think you have privacy online. Any privacy you think you have online on the World Wide Web is truly virtual. You don't have any privacy. And the sooner we realize that we don't have privacy, I think, the sooner we get to a more effective operating position. So, these are the privacy settings in Facebook. So I teach a class on social business every semester. Undergraduates, MBA students, and I make them operate a Facebook page. So for some of them don't have a Facebook page, I make them open up a Facebook page. Others, they have a Facebook page, and I talk to them about how to try to reshape this where it would be more beneficial to your career. Because the fact of the matter is, you're not going to get a job on Facebook, you're going to lose a job on Facebook, right? You're not going to get a job on Facebook, you're going to lose a job on Facebook. So I don't teach privacy settings. I mean, people will raise their hand about privacy and I'll say, I don't know. I don't worry about privacy. I don't teach it. I don't fiddle with those settings. I don't. Because I don't trust them. I don't trust them. Especially once Facebook went public and they have to make money, your data is valuable to them. And any of you that have been on Facebook for a while, you know they make changes just like that. What was that? You know, and they never tell you. You have to figure it out. There's no company in the world that's better at pissing more people off more often than Facebook. And it's bumping up against our privacy, right? So just abandon that. The only operating posture, I think, as a professional is to abandon that. And so go for operational privacy. Instead of making privacy a technological issue, make it an operational issue. So if you will operate from a posture where you never post anything, anytime, anywhere that you're not comfortable with anyone seeing, privacy is not an issue. Privacy is not an issue. Okay, so this is kind of around what we're transparency. Now, transparency doesn't mean you have to share everything online. I consider myself extremely transparent. When you see me online, what you see is what you get, but you don't see it all. I don't have to tell you everything about my life. I don't have to post all aspects of my life. When you find me online, and I want you to find me online, I want you, when you put my name in that search engine, I want you to find me. And when you find me, you're going to find open doors. Every single site has a wide open door. And what I'm saying is, come on in, inspect me. I have nothing to hide. Come on in. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I stand for. This is what I believe in. And so immediately, the message I send is, there's kind of an open posture here. On a lot of people, that's not true. I find you online, and what I find is a wall. So I find a wall that you're trying to hide behind, where you think you've got privacy. And immediately you introduce, whether you believe it or not, or realize it or not, you introduce ambiguity into our relationship. Who are you? Number one, who are you? What are you doing back there on your Facebook page that you don't want me to see? What are you doing? Why do you have to hide it? Those are the questions that enter people's mind. Because of the wall that you've put up there. So I'm going to say this later, don't build walls, build bridges. Tear those walls down and try to operate in an open posture. Never post anything, anytime, anywhere. And this is a really tough one, especially for my younger students, undergrads. My MBAs get it a little bit better. To me, this is what having professional discretion means. So I can put that picture on Facebook, right? But we're connected to everyone. People are going to find me. They're going to look and they're going to see that picture. Is it going to make one of my constituents uncomfortable? Is there somebody that I serve that if they saw that picture would have an uncomfortable reaction? And if there is, then I want to give some thought to that picture. Now, I might share that picture with you over coffee, but that doesn't mean I have to post it online, right? And so my rule of thumb is, if you couldn't post it on the wall of your office and it wouldn't offend anyone there, then you're fine. You can post it online. But if you've got a picture or some other type of content, and picture is the most common one, you've got a picture or some other type of content that would make one of your constituents uncomfortable if they were standing in your office, I don't find that to be a very smart strategic posture. It just don't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to me. Why would you do that? So, all right. And again, the sooner you behave as if you have no privacy, the more effective you're going to be. Give it up. And now begin to think about everything that you do. I think very carefully about every like, every post, everything. And there's a lot of stuff I want to say that I don't say. So, build bridges, not walls. Just because you can post it doesn't mean that you should. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And to me, this is the epitome of professional discretion. When you really begin to think, what impact is this going to have on this constituent if that constituent connected with me? If that person I serve found this picture, found that statement, found this blog post, found this over here, how would they feel about it? Now, I say a lot of, I speak frankly online, and I say a lot of in your face stuff on my blog, but I own it. Before I hit publish, I own what I do. I'm much more careful on Facebook than on my blog about what I do there. So here's an example. I pulled this down today. So you know, if those of you that are on Facebook, you know that, so here's something, it's about religion, atheists, and I kind of blacked out who it was associated with. Now, if I were to hit like right there, if I were to hit like on that comment, what would happen? It would appear in the home feed of everyone that I'm connected to, right? it would appear in the home feed of everyone I'm connected to. Now, I might have some very strong personal opinions about those subjects, religion and all of that stuff. In fact, I do have some very strong personal opinions about that. But that doesn't mean politics is another one. I mean, last year we saw so many people being so stupid, it was ridiculous. Offending people with really bad content. And you know, what are you thinking? These are your customers. So if I were to like this, it would show up in my stream. And you know, I'm a professor. My students come in every package imaginable. Every race, every color, every religion, every gender. My students are all of these things. And so I'm really careful about the space that I stake out where my students hang out, because I value my relationships with them. And it's not worth it. As strong as I might feel about that, it's just not worth offending you, right? It's just not worth it. So think twice. Think very carefully, especially out there on Facebook. So your brand, as you go out there, your name, your picture, your purpose, your value associated with all that. You need to be on these platforms, not all of them. Let me ask you to stand up. If you're on LinkedIn, if you're on either LinkedIn or Facebook, either one of those, stand up. Well, there you go. I think that's just about everyone. So everyone that's standing is on either LinkedIn or Facebook. So now, if you're also on Twitter, remain standing. If you're not on Twitter, sit down. So everyone that's standing right now is on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. All right? So now if you also have a blog, remain standing. Oh, this is cool. Okay, so all of y'all have a blog? Okay. So these people have LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, blog. How many of you blog? If you blogged this month, remain standing. Wow, okay. It's early, right? Yeah. So, very good. Sit down. So, I mean, you can see here that, but the blog is the single most powerful branding tool you have. It's a hard sell to get people to blog. But I'm telling you what, there is no more powerful tool for creating content that can articulate to others your value, and for creating archivable pages that I can now take and share in influential social circles. And I mean, I'm telling you, I've had a number of students and other people that I know that when you start blogging and you're on LinkedIn as well, it's a different recruitment game. You don't have to go look for jobs. You know that on LinkedIn there people are actively looking for people, right? They don't want to post a job. They want to go cherry pick the people that they want. And if you're blogging, guess what? You control the conversation at your interview. It's not like you show up to the interview and they ask you this series of questions. It's like, man, I read your blog. Would you? And I thought that was really cool. Tell me about this. Now the interview has switched, where you are in control, in more control over what's happening at the interview. That doesn't happen without the creation of content. So all of this stuff is really very important. Get your name. A good email is critical. So foxybaby99 at hotmail.com. That doesn't work. So get your name. Get your name associated with that. The best one is your name at yourname.com. Okay. If you can't, just get a good representation of your name. Now, oh, I said the G word again. So, but this is, I mean, it's a powerful player. And they have this thing called Google Plus that came in on the scene a couple years ago. I aggregate all my content here. Before I used to do it at a third-party site. Now I aggregate it all at Google Plus. And you'll see that I link this to my LinkedIn page, and it's on my business card. You find me there, you find everything I do. So it's actually quite useful to me. LinkedIn, again, here's my LinkedIn page, and you can see down here in the context section. Now LinkedIn's a power player. They made changes. If you're on LinkedIn, you know they made changes in the last year that signaled their willingness to remain relevant in this space. They're in to stay. They're in to stay. And if you're not on LinkedIn, you're missing the game. Everyone in this room's on LinkedIn, I hope. Okay, very good. So I got my Twitter handle there. I got my personal website and Google Plus. That's all you need. You find me on those platforms, you found Everything I do, you know all about me. So Twitter, power platform. But it is the most misunderstood platform out there. Twitter is, I mean, it's not just a power platform, it is now a cultural phenomenon. It is now a cultural phenomenon. The things that are happening on Twitter are ridiculous. It is the communication medium of choice for so many people. I don't know if you realize this is a whole nother talk. We are living through a fundamental shift in the way people communicate that has tremendous implications for you and your business. And because we're in the middle of that wave, and most of us are riding the wave, we can't see it. You'll only see it when you look back. But the really cutting edge people understand that this is a wave of change. And they're not riding the wave, they're getting out in front of the wave and thinking about how they can leverage these things for themselves and for their business. And Twitter, I mean, Twitter has become a cultural phenomenon. Link to my website. So, I mean, I meet so many people on Twitter. I'll show you an example here in a second if I get a chance. Happened just today. How many of you are on Pinterest? Oh, I thought I'd see a lot of hands go up. Yeah, I don't get Pinterest. It's, I don't have a whole lot of interesting pictures about Jeeps and running. You know, if women love Pinterest. And I know some of them that, ooh, they're just all over that. So, and it is, and for some brands, it makes tremendous sense. And that you really should be on Pinterest and should be leveraging this stuff. So I'm on Pinterest because I want to learn. What the heck is this Pinterest? What are people doing? Let me try to figure it out. Facebook, the site I love to hate, but it is a necessary evil to me. I mean, I'm telling you, the people that I serve, they are on all different mediums. And so to be an effective communicator in this age, you must be present on multiple mediums, and you must package your message in multiple forms. If you only have one medium and one package, you're going to miss a lot of audience. Your audience is multifaceted. Your audience lives on LinkedIn, they live on Twitter, they live on Facebook, they live on blogs. And so you, if you want to be a really effective communicator individually and as a company, you must be present on those main platforms, and you must be willing to package your message in multiple forms if you want to reach those people. So I'm on Facebook, and I can accomplish certain things on Facebook that I can't accomplish on Twitter or on LinkedIn. But I know my audience, I know what I want to accomplish, and I know how to post it when. I have Facebook pages for my TEDx, University of Nevada, and I also have a Twitter for this. I have a Facebook for the MBA program, and I have a Twitter for this as well. So I have multiple brands. And I have my website as well. So I got three fan pages that I operate on, in addition to my personal page, Bret Simmons. And I'm on Twitter with all of that as well. And what I want you to know is when I step into the role, I'm a brand ambassador all the time, by the way, but when I step into one of these roles, my voice changes. I'm still personal, but I'm more strictly business. There are some things I'll say as Bret Simmons that I would never say as the executive MBA program. And I do want to point this out. So you can see right here, and most of you have this, do you see where I list that I work for the University of Nevada, Reno? At that point in time, I surrendered any claims that I have for my personal space. This is no longer my space. This is our space. Because I've said I work for this institution. And when I say I work for this institution, that comes with responsibilities. Right? I am now an ambassador of this university. And whether I put it there or not, you know that I work there. And so if I'm out in public acting a fool, it's on my employer, right? I mean, and that, to me, that makes a difference. That matters. I think it's a big responsibility and a huge opportunity to represent my employer as an individual. Okay? Whether they want me to or not, I think it's huge. So if you list that at your site, you've surrendered all those claims of this is my space, I can do whatever I want to. You have a responsibility to start thinking bigger at that point. All right, so Facebook lies. I've already told you one is that you don't have any privacy. So surrender that. The other Facebook lie I mean, just think about this. We stepped into this Facebook page, this Facebook thing, and they start framing the issue for us with the words that they use. And we bought them. They used this word, friends. They said, oh, this is about friends. And we said, oh, okay, it's about friends. We just bought it, hook, line, and sinker. And we let them frame the issue for us. And so now, because it's about friends, now I'm in the business of saying, well, you're my friend, you're my friend, you're not my friend. You're not my friend, you're not getting in. Okay? So you go to a networking event like this. When you step into the room, you signal that you understand the rules of the game. Is there any reason why, if I came up to you at this networking event and extended my hand out to you, is there any reason why you wouldn't greet me? Only if you're stupid. You know, there's just no reason not to. It just doesn't make sense. You're in this space to do that, right? And if you don't take my hand, if you say, oh, we're not friends, you turn your back on me. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not friends. Don't you know we're not friends? I will never forget it. You will create an emotional response in me that I will not soon forget. I'll never forget your name. I'll never forget your face. Ever. I never. Ever. So why would you create the opportunity by your posture online to offend people? Why would you do that? I mean, I've had this. I've had professionals say to me, hey, you should meet so-and-so. She's on Facebook. Go over there, knock on her Facebook door. What do I hear? This is my personal site. I'm sorry. We're not friends. But you can do business with me. I don't think so. If I'm not good enough to be your friend, I'm not good enough to give you my money. Does that make sense? I don't get that. So be very cognizant of the types of messages you send to people through the way you posture yourself. You create these walls and you set up this friend stuff, which didn't exist 5 years ago, by the way, and you buy into this, you're setting up a chain of events, and you better think through the entire causal chain. Because the action you take today when I knock on your door has long-term potential implications. Right? So think about it. And since when did we need Facebook to validate us? I mean, I hear all the time that, oh, you know, on Facebook you got to be authentic. And the assumption is that if I don't have a picture of me doing it, it's not the real me. And so to be the real me, I have to go create pictures of me doing these things so I can show people it's the real me. You don't need Facebook to authenticate your life. Just because you don't have a picture of it on Facebook doesn't mean that you're not doing it. You know, and you know, we all drink and get drunk, right? Well, I don't get drunk, but we all. I don't. I really don't. You're laughing, but I don't. I swear I haven't been drunk since 1984. But you'll find a picture of me on Facebook. I like Irish beer. You'll find a picture of me on Facebook pouring Guinness in Dublin. And I'm having a beer with a professional. Now I know, I mean, that was the early days of Facebook. Now I know if I'm somewhere having a cocktail and the camera's out, the cocktail's behind my back. I don't get this behavior where we have to stick the cocktail. See, there it is. So you drink, so what? I mean, I'm a long-time beer drinker. I have a newfound love for wine and whiskey. I don't have any pictures of me drinking wine and whiskey. Shoot, I better fix that, huh? You don't need Facebook to authenticate you. There are parts of your life that you don't have to share online. You don't have to. There's a lot of things that I do that don't end up on Facebook. And I'm just as authentic. All right, so here's Lacey. Lacey's Facebook page, again, operations specialist at Microsoft. She just identified herself, but we know she works there anyway. She does a good job. She's had my class. So she does a good job of being professionally personal. You can look down her pictures, and I always judge the mosaic. When I land on your picture page, what is the initial emotional reaction that I have? Is this a young professional that is enjoying life, that knows how to enjoy herself, and that is trying to really experience all of life? Or is this a drunken party slob? I'm serious. Is this just a party animal who feels the need for some reason to just express the fact that this is what I do 24/7? I think you should think about that. I really do. There's no reason why you can't show yourself having fun, but there's no reason why you have to show yourself slobbery drunk more than once. If that. You show me a picture of you slobbery drunk, I get it. I don't need 100 of those. One is enough. So, here's another professional, Amy Lessinger, sells real estate. Now I want you to notice how her picture stays the same as we go throughout. If you don't take anything else away from all of this, go pay a professional photographer to take your picture, because you want to be recognized. I mean, I used to teach this stuff, and I'd say this: you need to get a picture that people recognize. They'd say, "Well, that don't look like you." Like, oh my gosh! So I had to go get some new pictures of me, because if you find me online, I'm connected with a lot of people on Facebook. When I step into a room in person, I want you to recognize me. I know that guy. And I want that to be the beginning of that type of connection. So if you're using a 20-year-old picture, or in some instances a 5-year-old picture, where I wouldn't recognize you, you need to go get a new picture. Because I need to recognize you when I walk in the room. Because that's what you want, right? We want to be recognized. So get a good professional picture. It's worth 150 bucks. It's worth it. And update it every few years. She's got a professional page. She does really good out there on Facebook. She moves it over to LinkedIn. She blogs. This is her website. She connects it up in the Twitter. These are her blog posts, and I want you to know that she authors her blog posts. So she gets this. She's creating content out there on Twitter. See the same picture? So, in summary, we got 10 minutes left. If I could, I would show you some stuff on the web that happened this afternoon, but I also want to take your questions. So, social business is here to stay. We ain't going back. This is only going forward. Think about this. Think about this. 5 years from now, when you are in a senior executive position, you want to be able to leverage the full value of this. And you will not if you keep it at arm's length. You must immerse yourself. The only way to truly grasp the full strategic implication of these tools is by immersion. The immersion experience is different than the tourist. The tourist just passes through. The citizen lives there. Be a digital citizen. Immerse yourself in the culture of what's going on out there, so that when you are in the position where you can leverage this stuff, you understand it clearly and you don't have to rely on somebody's advice. You've been there. You understand it. To me, that's the only real strategic posture. So, and I think it's a strategic imperative. Start now, don't quit. Get online, get started. If you're not on Twitter, experiment. Most of you are on Facebook. You might need to make some adjustments. And taking control of your online brand is just really good for you, good for your company.